G'day, welcome back to another episode of Togl. Well, it's a bit of a wet one today. Showers keep coming through, so I've just been doing a little bit of work around here. Been waiting for a break in the rain so that I could get the camera out. A couple of episodes ago, one of our subscribers, one of our viewers, a fella called Keith, he commented on that big tree that went down over the back there and lifted all that dirt up. And I was explaining how the dirt's really flat on the bottom because it's on a big bed of gravel. Keith had a great idea. He said, go and pan for some gold in that gravel. Well, this isn't really gold country. Like this area of Tassie, really, they've never found gold, I don't think. But it doesn't hurt to check anyway. I believe they have found gold like an hour down the road, so I guess it's possible. And where that tree lifted up from, probably nothing, no one has ever probably looked underneath that tree. It's probably been growing there for hundreds of years, so who knows what we'll find. I can go one better than panning because that's a bit back-breaking and you're doing a lot of spot searching and you could just miss it. So if you recall, last year for my birthday I received a metal detector, and I haven't had a chance to test this out yet. I've just been too busy working, doing stuff up here on the block and whatnot, and I just never seem to get around to it. So this is the perfect opportunity for me to try out this metal detector. So yeah, like I said, I'm not expecting anything, but let's go down and have a look. It'll be the first time I've played with it. Okay, so this is the area, all this gravel you can see behind me. I will also run it across the surface up there as well. Because you never know if something got lifted up with it, but let's go in and have a look. There might be something right here, I'm not sure. It's only going off every now and then, so I think it's just a false reading. Well, nothing picked up and it's starting to rain. I need to get this camera back into the dries. I mean, it just keeps raining every couple of minutes. We've got more showers coming through, so I better get this back in and then I might come out and have a little bit more of a look later on. I'll let you know if I find anything. I thought I'd give you a quick update on the Vespex that my mate Matt sent me, the wasp poison. So there's the trap hanging right there. And as I said, I wasn't sure whether it would get any. I hadn't seen any wasps around for a while, mainly because it's got so cold. And if we look up at this trap, there's actually not a single wasp in it at the moment. And that's actually a good thing, because it means that there's no wasps around. So they're obviously all well and truly into hibernation right now. They won't be bothering the one beehive I've got left. That's right, I do have one hive left. I checked it yesterday and it was full of bees. So I only lost 2 of the 3. You might recall on one of those videos I did open it, and a couple of bees flew out. I wasn't real sure what was going to happen with it, so I just sealed it straight back up again, left them to their own devices. But I just come up yesterday, and in between those rain showers I had a very quick look. I really wasn't expecting to see any, but I had brought some sugar with me in case I did. Now, because we're right into winter and I want that colony to be nice and strong, seeing as how it survived so far, you can feed your bees sugar water in the winter time. So I had brought up a little shallow Chinese food container, one of those plastic containers, with a little bit of white sugar, and I just dissolved that, put in some sticks and twigs into the fluid as well, because you don't want the bees drowning in it. They need to be able to climb onto something to get in and out. So I did all that, and they've got some sugar water there, so that's going to help them. I will now check that hive weekly. Even though it's cold, I'll try and pick the warmest part of the day, the warmest part of the week. I'll try and check it weekly, and if they're going through that sugar water, I'll keep topping them up until we get the next blossom bloom in spring. For anyone who doesn't know anything about feeding bees like that, the one thing you don't do is give them raw sugar dissolved in water. Apparently the raw sugar gives them the runs. It's not good for their little bellies. So white sugar only if you're going to do it. And it's always a good idea not to give them honey. That's how diseases can be spread. So you never give them honey that you've bought or got from somewhere else or anything like that. Basically it's sugar water. Anyway, so that's good news on the bee front. And yeah, I'll keep you posted on those. Well, it's quite cold and a bit windy. Unfortunately, I didn't get to film a lot yesterday. There was pretty much rain the whole day, just light drizzly rain, but it meant I couldn't get the camera out, and it really was too awkward to have the GoPro out. So got a lot of work done at the block yesterday. I just didn't get to film much of it. Anyway, this morning, first things first, I want to get this big tree behind me cleared, clear it away from the gate. Once I've done that, then I'll be able to head into the block, and I've got some more projects down there that I need to get sorted out today, so we'll see how much of that I get done. It's not supposed to rain, so I think we're good that way, but yeah, it's still pretty nippy, and like I said, that breezes up a bit, so best I start chopping. thing I just noticed here. I went to open up this gate and I thought this post looks a little short. And then I realised as well that the gate is actually embedded right down in the dirt here. Nothing actually hit the gate, but a piece of this, I'm guessing the edge there, actually hit the log and drove this post even deeper into the ground by about probably that much, I reckon. All the edges all buckled off, there's all bark on the top here. Yeah, where it's scuffed off of that. So the tree's literally hit that right on the edge. There's a bit of a scuff mark on the edge of the gate and driven that post into the ground even deeper. So that's made the post really solid. But what it means is I'm going to need to dig down and I'm going to have to dig out the bottom latch and then take this latch off and move everything up. So yeah, extra work. But that can be done another day. I just want to get this log cut up today, and then I've got a few other things down the main part of the block I want to get focused on. But yeah, that's something else I'm going to have to do as well. Take long to work up a sweat when you're doing this, chopping and moving stuff. I've managed to cut through this section right here now, so I can see this is all supported above the ground. So now I'll be able to chop pieces off it with less chance of pinching the blade. Now I've got to look at that piece there, that's really embedded into the ground hard. Well, the weatherman lied. It did rain. I just kept working through it. It's all good. Now, I need to get that out. This branch went in so hard, I can't even budge it. Can't move that. That's as rock solid as if it had roots on it. But that is a branch that come off that tree that fell down. So I'm going to hook up the winch, see if I can pull it out. I don't even know if I'll be able to do that. It depends on how deep down it's gone, because it's in the ground that way and I'm going to be pulling this way. It will be interesting to see, if I do get this out, how much of that is in the ground. Well, pretty much from my nose to my fingertips. So it must be about probably 2.5 foot, 3 foot of branch straight in. At first I started pulling the car, but eventually the earth gave us, just because the earth is soft. It went in so far. But yeah, that was down a long way. Now we're going to have a big spongy spot right there. But anyway, I've cut enough of this up now, this main log. And there's a few other tasks I want to do. I can get a car through here now if I want to. So I'll come back and finish chopping all this up another day. And I'll see you down the bottom. We'll go and get a few more things done. Well, that was a big effort up there at the gate, getting that tree down. Well, not getting it down, it was already down. I just needed to chop it up so I could get through the gate. Speaking of trees down though, we did have some strong wind last night and another one has come down up here. This whole area is so unstable. Check this out. So that big blackwood that was up the back there has come over as well, and thankfully it didn't hit the shed. As I've said many times before, the wind comes from this direction, it blows down through here, so everything tends to always fall over in that direction. And because this big blackwood in here was actually standing up there right on the corner, it's gone that way too. So good news about that. But with that being said, I think I need to do something about these couple right here. They are an issue, especially this one right here that's got the lean that's going over, and I'll show you why it's such an issue. So yesterday, one of the things I did in the rain was I was clearing this bit of a track through so I could get down and look at some gravel. Now, these trees here are rotten as. So that's why this one just split apart. But the wood, if I can show you this here, look at it, it's really spongy. You can just squeeze it, peel it off. Yeah, it's like sponge. So that makes it a very dangerous tree. And the other one looks like it's the same, so it's going to come down in just a minute. I can't afford for that to happen. And this is where I was working yesterday. So yeah, all this is gravel, and you can see some of the different colors in the clay and that. I need to make a little bit better entry exit point because that was a bit steep. I actually had to winch the tractor out yesterday, but I was driving around on all that pad yesterday in there, and yeah, you can see, like, with the weight of the tractor, it really didn't push in much, you know, maybe an inch or so. Now what I also did here is a bit of a seepage, and so I noticed all the water was running down through that area. So I dug this trench. I dug a trench along and right around and over the back, just to divert the water away from what will be a gravel pit. So there was a fair bit of work involved in that yesterday. That's where I was metal detecting yesterday. So yeah, that was one of the chores that I did. One of the other chores I'll take you over and show you in a second. Okay, so one of the other things is this basin that you can see right in front of me here. It catches a bit of rain, but it's more actually groundwater. I've seen the water bubble up out of between the grass, so it literally just bubble up out of the ground, and then it flows straight down and straight along the road, making that a boggy mess. So I thought, all right, what I need to do is I've dug a channel around the bend here, which is where most of the groundwater springs out from. And actually, as I was digging the channel yesterday, I hit a little bit of a spring over here. Now, I'm not sure if you can see, I'll try and get in a bit closer, but if the reflections show enough, that water is still flowing. It's bubbling up out of the ground right there. There's tiny little holes there, almost looks like ant nests holes, so the water's bubbling up out of that. So now it'll all run down this channel down to the lowest point, and I'll actually put a pipe in that channel because obviously we need to drive over it. So yeah, we've got the curved channel around there to catch the water, and then we'll put a pipe down through there, and it'll just channel the water off into the gully. Okay. Oh, if I look buggered, I am. I've just spent the whole day up on the block, clearing those trees, chopping firewood, that sort of thing. Because of that, I need to get the chainsaw sharpened. And one of my very good friends, Sean, he asked me if I could show how I service the chainsaw and sharpen the blade. So let me go through that with you now. So the first thing is I sharpen up the blade. Now, to get the blade off, most chainsaws, not all, but most, will have two nuts there. They just need to come off. Now, it's also these nuts that need to be loosened if you need to adjust the tension on the blade. There's these two nuts get loosened because that's what holds the bar, and then there's a little screw right in there, and you can turn that either anti-clockwise or clockwise. It'll push the bar in or out. Obviously, if it pushes the bar out, it's tightening up the chain. So we'll go over that once I put the chain back on. So we take these nuts off. Noisy car going past. And then that cover just comes off. I'll clean that later. And the bar just slips straight off. And then the chain comes off. So now I'll show you how I sharpen the chain. Okay, there's a number of ways that you can sharpen the chain. The most common way is while the chain is on the bar with a file. You just file each tooth. I find one of these electric sharpeners is a lot quicker and easier. So what we do is get the kink out of the chain. It just fits into the guide like that. And then you have, I've put it in backwards. Okay, now make sure you put it in the right way. Spin it around. Because what you want is the front of the tooth obviously facing that way so that it can come in and sharpen it. Now what this piece does is it goes in behind the tooth, and when you pull down on the chain, it holds the chain secure and it holds the tooth secure. Now you can only do every second tooth because of the angle. So that'll sharpen that tooth, but then the next tooth is cut at a different angle. So you do every second tooth, and then you need to take the, then you need to adjust this. So we'll just get some of these teeth done now. Always make sure you've got your safety gear. You want to make sure you've got ear protection and eye protection. And power. So it's just a very light touch. You don't want to overheat that. That's not even hot, not even warm to the touch. If you bury right into it, you'll ruin the tooth. Then you move another two. The one thing I forgot to mention is that you need to mark the tooth that you start on, so you know when you've got all the way back around. So I've marked this one down here somewhere. Must be further up near the top. Yeah, that one. So I've marked that tooth right there. I'll be keeping an eye out for that to come all the way back around. And there we are, we're back at the coloured tooth. So now all I need to do to get every second tooth that I've missed is I just undo a nut under here. I've got a little gauge around here with a little line, so I can see that this is set at 30 degrees. There would be 0 and there's 30 in the opposite direction, which is what we're going to move it to. Just to there and tighten that up. Now I can do all the opposite teeth. And now the other teeth are done. Now there is more that I need to do to this chain, but I will do that once it's back on the blade. So now I'll show you how I clean the rest of the chainsaw. Alright, so with the body of the chainsaw, what you want to do is take this piece off. Now some of them just clip on. This one actually has some little screws there that need to come undone, because that's where we find the spark plug and the air filter. Put it all undone. Should just lift off and like that. So there's your spark plug right there. So if you want to clean the spark plug or replace it, you just pull that cord off and then undo your spark plug. This is your air filter, so we're going to take that off as well so that we can give that a good clean. Now, if you're lucky enough to have compressed air, you can blow these clean. That's what I like to do. I like to blow it from the inside out, so you're blowing the dust off of it, not pushing the dust back into it. Then when you've done that, along the side, not straight in, just along the edge. Now I'll just put the air filter back on. You don't want to disturb any of the dust here with the air filter off, because you don't want the dust going in there. It's the whole idea of the air filter. So you put the air filter back on. Now I can give the rest of this a good clean out. And yeah, when you're done, give yourself a quick dust off as well, because while that does fly back, it's probably not a bad idea to wear some safety glasses. So that's all out. Now, if you don't have compressed air, you can always use a small brush. So this is how I used to do it before I got the compressor. Just use a brush and just clean all that sawdust out that way. Anything that's really stubborn, you can always use like a little bit of fuel or a little bit of metho just to help clean it. But look, basically what you just want to do is just get rid of all those build-ups of sawdust that are in there, because that'll restrict the airflow and clog the whole thing up. So that's what you're trying to do. So that's all clean. The one other thing that I do clean as well is the blade. Just make sure that there's no gunk in the track, and in the holes, there's holes here that oil flows through. Make sure that those holes are clear. But again, I like to do it with the compressed air. I'm just giving that, there's the little wheel there, give that a bit of lubricant. So, alrighty. Now, time to put it back together again. Alright, got the chain. This one becomes a bit of a juggling act, and again, you've got to make sure that the chain goes on the right way. So, when you're looking on the top, in front of every tooth, there's a little hook. So you've got like a tooth and a little hook at the front. That little hook's called a raker. That needs to be at the front, going away from the chainsaw. So that direction, that's where your hook is, out the front. It's a bit of a juggle to try and get it all balanced in. Because you really want to make sure that chain is in that track on the bar. Okay, and then we pop that back on there, and then we put the nuts on, which I've left over on the floor. Alright, let's fix that all up again. So both nuts on, just finger tight. One thing I should have done too was pop this back on. You don't want to leave that off too long when you're moving it around and that sort of thing anyway. Okay, now that's way too loose. So what we want to do is we turn clockwise. That's a lot better now. Just a little bit of pull on that, that's good. So at about there, then we finish tightening off these nuts. Alright, now that this is all back together, there is one more thing that I need to do to this chain. That's what I'm going to show you right now. I'm going to bring the camera in nice and close so that you can see what I'm talking about, and I'll explain as I go. So this here, this is the raker. So you've got the tooth and the raker. And what happens is, as you keep sharpening these teeth, the teeth wear down lower than the raker, and then you're not cutting. So you need to bring the rakers down as well. I've got a cool little gauge like this. It's only a couple of dollars, and you can see that it's set slightly lower there at the front. So what we do is, the tooth sits about there so that the raker is there, and by filing across that you take the edge off the raker so that the raker is always slightly lower than the tooth. It's just a matter of going to each one and making sure that that raker is filed down. So there you have it. That's what I do to keep my chainsaw in really good condition and to keep the chain nice and sharp. If you do that, you'll get years and years and years out of your chainsaw and out of your chain as well. So I hope you found that interesting. If you've got any questions, just leave them in the comments below. I'll get back to you, and yeah, hopefully I can answer that for you. If not, I'll find out and I'll answer for you. But anyway, I need to head back up to the block tomorrow. I've got more trees to cut down, but this is it for this episode. So I hope you had a great week. I hope you have a great weekend. Stay safe, take care. I'll talk to you all next week. Thanks for watching. Cheers.